Bye, Barley.
Road trip! Where are we going, Danielle?
Boulder.
Louder.
Boulder!
Guess who went to this Starbucks one time, Danielle?
Found a little Starbucks on the highway here. I could use a coffee. A little bit of coffee cam in the middle of Kansas somewhere. Colby?
Thank you, milady.
Look at this. Oh, yeah, this is old-fashioned.
Original.
I like it.
And welcome back. Here you go. Cannot drink these. Danielle's got a business trip. We are going to be checking out some real estate for a possible home purchase on a most likely to occur move from Kansas to the Boulder, Weld County, Colorado area. I wasted most of yesterday editing the vlog from Saturday at the Kansas Star. That was a wild and woolly session.
Okay, can I get this car?
Yeah.
Now Boulder is just about a stone's throw away from Black Hawk, Colorado, and there I'll get to try something I haven't tried before in my life, and something that I think is going to be really interesting, coming from the standpoint of someone who plays just regular no limit. In Colorado, state law prohibits bets, single bets of more than $100. And I'm heading over to Black Hawk, where they got 4 casinos. They run 1-2, 2 to 100 spread limit with a max buy-in of $200. They also run 2-5 2 to 100 spread limit with a max buy-in of $500. So I think that'd be a very different game. And then they also have your big limit games. I guess they run no limit tournaments, but it's spread limit action at Blackhawk due to state law. All right, we have made it. Blackhawk, Colorado. I don't even know how many casinos. It's the Denver Metropolitan Area Casino District, about 30 miles by road from where we were staying in Boulder. Take a look at the old Bravo. Looks like the old Ameristar right behind me is where all the action is. 8 games going right now. Finally, get to experience a little Colorado spread limit poker. The poker room here at the Ameristar Blackhawk is on the 2nd floor. It's also a no-smoking, a non-smoking casino. Okay, from the valet of the Ameristar Casino, Blackhawk, Colorado, getting my first taste of spread limit hold'em. They have 1-2 and 2-5 games running right now. I chose the 2-5 primarily because I wanted the spread limit to come more into play. Just I figured it'd make it more interesting. I'm about 2 hours, just over 2 hours into the game right now. Few interesting hands to go over. First hand, we are in middle position. We look down at Ace King offsuit. It's a straddle pot to $10. 1 limper. We raise it to 40. The player directly to my left goes all in for 62. It folds back to me. I toss in the calling chips. He shows Ace Jack offsuit, and the board run out is safe. Ace King's good. Alright, next decently interesting hand. I am in the hijack with 7-8 of clubs. The middle position lag opens to $20. We bump this one up to 60. He calls. The flop is Jack 8-4, Diamond, Heart, Diamond. Check, check on the flop. Turn is a glorious 8 of spades. This time he leads out. The lag in middle position leads out for $60. We bump it up to 160. 100 is the most you can raise on top of bet. He does go away this time. We drag in a nice pot. Up about 120 right now. Going to get back in there. Hopefully can get some action hands. Okay, so in the first interesting hand after coming back from break, we look down at Ace King Diamond Club and on the button. There's a few limps to us. We bump it up to $30. The big blind and an early position limper as well as the cutoff limper call. The flop is Jack 10-6 Rainbow. Check, check, check. Gutter and 2 overs seems like a good enough reason to bet here. We make it 80 bucks. They all fold. Okay, second hand, a few orbits later. We are in the low jack with ace-9 of hearts. We open to $20. The cutoff calls with $150 behind. Flop is king, queen, 10 with 1 heart. Check, check. Barreling opportunities, but it smacks, you know, those Broadway cards not only smack my range, but they also smack their range as well. My ace kings and my ace queens and even my ace 10s are often dominated by Broadway calling hands. Turn, 7 of hearts. This time we get the backdoor flush draw, nut flush draw. So we go ahead and bet $25. The cutoff this time calls. And the river is a 7 of diamonds. We decide to continue the story. And the villain goes into the tank for a bit. Then he makes the call. He shows 10-6 of diamonds for flopped bottom pair. So good soul read there by the villain. All right. A little bit later, we're in the big blind and we look at a pretty one. Pocket queens, black pocket queens, early position, bumps it up to 15. We 3-bet to 60. The early position raiser goes ahead and calls our 60, $120 on a flop of 8-3-4. Rainbow. This time we bet $90. Villain calls. Turn is a 9, completing the rainbow. We go ahead and bet again. $100. Remember, $100 max bet. Villain pumps it all in for $160. We call. Don't quite remember the river. Didn't note that down. All I know is my hand is good. The villain shows ace 4 of hearts. So turning bottom pair into a bluff, maybe? Next interesting hand, we got king jack suited in early position. We open to 25. A tight player. 3 bets to $60. We have king jack hearts. I think to such a small 3-bet, only 35 to call. I think we need to defend here, so we go ahead and do that. Flop comes pretty good for us. 9 king queen with 1 heart. We check. Villain bets $75. And we call. The turn brings the backdoor flush draw. So now we have top pair, good kicker with the heart flush draw and a gutter ball to a straight. We check again. Villain bets 100. Of course, this is 2 to 100 spread limit. And this is where not being a no limit, I think, comes into play a lot for me here. If I'm behind, I've got a lot of outs. Obviously, aces, ace, king, more likely to be hands he's 3-betting with. But only being able to raise 100 more with the pot the size that it is, over a $100 bet, I just don't think I have any fold equity. So I go ahead and make the call. The river is a 4 of diamonds. We check. The villain bets out 100. We do think about it for a little bit. Kind of a catch-22 situation here. It's such a small bet in regards to the pot size. Obviously, that's due to the betting restrictions. But I really think we're rarely ever good here. I think this is probably a fold. We do call. Villain shows us black aces. His hand's good. Nice hand, sir. So that hand there, for sure, one where the spread limit really came into play. And the final hand of the evening, We're in the big blind with ace, queen, ace of hearts, queen of clubs. The hijack opens to 25. The button calls, and this time we 3-bet to 100. It's something, I like to do with a hand like ace, queen. That's a pretty strong hand, but vulnerable and hard to play out of position and without initiative. But this is also a situation where the 2 to 100 spread limit really comes into play again. We bump it up to 100. The hijack calls, the button folds. So now the pot is 225. We can't bet even half the pot no matter what happens. So the flop comes out, Jack, 8, 6, rainbow. C-bet this dry flop, hoping to get a fold. The hijack then raises us to 200, and there's really nothing we can do. I don't know if it would have been a different result if we bet 150, 175, but it was interesting. The most interesting thing about this hand is the fact that after 3-betting so large, and I started thinking about that, I kind of started thinking about it on the way home. In that game, especially the 2-5, it's probably best to keep your 3-bets smaller, perhaps, just so your flop bets can have more emphasis. And I did notice the players that seemed more like winning players at the table, they would keep pots small to the turn, so their turn bets can have more effect.
Well, that was interesting to say the least. There was, of course, those two hands just went over that where the $100 spread limit came into play. I was rolling pretty good there, up about 225, 250, and before any spread limit, before the spread limit really ever came into play. Got into the game. I was into the game for the original 500. I never topped up or anything. Grounded back up from negative 200. Grounded back up from 300 or so, back up to about 525. Then lost my way back down to 273. Definitely a learning experience. Fun game. Very weird because it's not like high pressure. So I know there's like little mistakes I made here and there. Very, very interesting, but very fun. Thanks for having me, Blackhawk.
He was born in the summer of his 27th year, coming home to a place he'd never been before. He left yesterday behind him. You might say he was born again. You might say he found a key for every door. When he first came to the mountains, his life was far away, on the road and hanging by a song. But the string's already broken and he doesn't really care. It keeps changing fast, it doesn't last for long. With the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain and fire in the sky. The shadow of the starlight is softer than a lullaby. Rocky Mountain High in Colorado. Rocky Mountain High.
All right, this Pearl Street, downtown Boulder area, pretty cool. Blocks and blocks, and then this main Pearl Street area, the street has been turned into a large sidewalk. Blocks and blocks of shops and places to eat, bars, pubs, guys singing. You never run out of places to eat or drink here, that's for sure. What is this thing? Apparently, it's a tea house. Apparently, there's a significant flood risk here in Boulder, which makes sense. Mountains are right over to the west. And there's a bunch of different waterways that converge here, so I can see that happening. And here we are, the University of Colorado. Seems like a good enough place for a nap. Ooh, the football field. Those used to be Big 12 team banners. Colorado bounced. Let's see what Gate 9 has to offer. I found these stairs, which lead to this view. All right, let's get back. Let's get on anyhow. So much worse going up than it is coming down.
So much worse.